That's besides the point. Again, why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent? When did I tell you I'm going to take a step back?
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now? We know the signs. But you never tell us about your illness, even when it's clearly flaring up.
And that gives you the right to make a decision on my behalf?
Shortly after you... Excuse me, but can you...
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding. So...
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it.
I see. Well, sir, you see, our leading lady has just informed...
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady Farina really so harsh with people?
Only joking, calm down. So, guess we can consider this case closed now, huh? Despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for ideas on the way back here.
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So, are you absolutely...
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and I share everyone's desire to commemorate all our years as a troupe with a proper farewell show. So, the last thing I want is every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home, myself included.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worried about the show. I should have asked for...
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of items. All right, I'm coming. No need to drag me. Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation.
Farina? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you doing here?
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. Yeah, when you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position and said some strongly worded, and all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that personally.
You really have a knack for asking the most... I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse... But in any case, it sounds like the issue has...
Yeah. When they said they were gonna ask for your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, how could we be worthy of having late...
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just Farina is fine. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it if the difficulties are purely financial? Everyone seems so devoted to the troupe.
We all want to believe that, but everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our...
What?
That's actually how I recognize these two. But still...
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss Farina. She rallied many people around her who were destitute, or people loved our performances back then. We seemed to be going from strength to strength.
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, the entire troupe fell into disarray. None of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. It's agonizing. But ultimately, we'd rather end things now on our own terms.
Oh.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings, who achieved so much, and no doubt. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage...
Yes, exactly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale...
Farina?
I know what you're thinking. but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of but only if you feel this is something that would
Oh, most definitely. We'll take.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though.
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that something I've begun to realize since my departure from the opera Epicles is that there's a lot you don't see when the law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human. What about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart. Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as...
Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues. You just want to get back in on the action, don't you?
No. This is a completely different situation. Pearls before swine.
The name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Farina's performances. All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice.
Exactly, but none of them believed me. There'll be extra
Huh? Lady Farina?
What's Lady Farina doing here?
Hello all. Allow me to explain. As of today, these two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Farina on a— You bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join.
So, you were saying, the little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script left behind by our... One of our greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring...
Wait, but if it's not finished, then...
Yeah, we've been battling issues on every front, trying to realize this dream. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who She longed to live just like any other human. And but one day, her true identity was exposed.
So far, so good. A classic tale. What happened up?
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But...
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a...
By true to life, you mean the
Yeah, like they say, truth. But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw...
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an end. The other is Villemont, who plays the main antagonist. He took the director's... He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance.
Huh. Although...
What opportunity?
Maybe you're unaware, but your name has always...
Our director was constantly singing your praises.
Oh, stop! You're making me all I suspect the reason they're dragging their feet is that they... But one by one, all the obstacles...
Makes sense. Okay, priority number one. He went back to Poisson a few days ago. Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax.
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was
Yeah, maybe he could use...
Poisson? Nothing. I suppose my presence will be in so allons-y.
If I remember correctly, this is where he's staying.
Who is it?
It's me.
You came all the way here for that?
Alright. Forget that for now. Just...
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapped...
Okay then. Looking for...
So, as expected, he's...
The ending is one of the most important parts. Even once he's done, it isn't final until we've all had the...
Someone told me they'd just seen you in Poisson. I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity, but sure enough.
I was wondering if we might run into her.
So, you're here for Paolo? Looks like he could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime.
Oh, it's okay. We can just wait here.
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds... Get over here, you! How oblivious are you?
How are things in Poisson now?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Please, must our conversations take such a We all have pain, and if you're trying to make a new start...
Thank you for your words of comfort. You make a but for now, at least.
It's okay. These things take time, which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is to avoid upsetting the peace. I told the townspeople that everyone here is a member of the theater. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
That's so thoughtful of you, Navia.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate... Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Off we go then. Let's take a look up there. I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with, so... I'm so grateful that Miss Navia was so understanding. To be perfectly honest, it's always easiest to just run away from your problems. But
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said Still, I felt it was something I had to do. I'd be overjoyed if Yeah, I can tell people are watching me. I'm sure some people here see the idea of someone coming to Poisson dressed as the Hydro Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially... I guess I wasn't quite ready.
I'm not surprised you're making yourself go through all of this.
What do you mean by that? You expected me to just keep running and hiding from my responsibility?
Look! There seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
Probably time we made a move. How about we check out Spina di Rosula? I'm sorry. You probably just wanted a relaxing stroll.
We don't mind. It's actually refreshing.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet. I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up to. As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the right one after another. People were taken by the water. All those treasured, they thought their god would protect them. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, and all the while, I played my part to perfection to convince, but then the floodwaters finally came. And the...
You shouldn't look at it like that. You were only doing your duty.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of complete... Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario thanks to the help of heroic individuals such everyone rose to their responsibilities. But on some level, freedom also means no longer...
Paimon would have never imagined you'd see it that way.
A reward? I guess so. Back then, I didn't even dare to dream. I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was. And exposing the secret. Believe in the Farina you see on stage. I had to keep all my feelings, all my curiosity about... That's what I really meant when I said...
So that's where you were coming from. Paimon totally thought you were just a bit of a diva at home.
Could you please get off my case? I don't know what's gotten into you today. I'm making an effort here. I do. I once had nothing but the truth, and now I'm fine. At least the choice is in my... All right, it's about time to head back. Paul...
Sure! Okay, let's head back and check it out.
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on fried foods.
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at speed. Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about. I've spent my whole life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you with...
Oh no, looks like they're arguing. We're back! Could you maybe put your differences as...
You're back. We've been enjoying Spina di Rosula's VIP treatment in your Paulo's nearly done. We should...
Great! So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into...
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but he...
The boar's not a bad character, actually. He's the one who raises the little Oceanid, yes?
That's right. He has some pretty memorable lines too. Like when he... If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think she kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in It was only after she was gone.
You mentioned earlier that the troop was like you.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness. I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find.
She sounds like a really incredible person.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troop and the I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, the other kids were always picking fights with me. One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't.
Let me guess.
Yeah, for the first time in my life.
The day you hoped would never come.
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's
Farina? The Farina? Oh my god, how—
Please, the honor is all mine. I was profoundly moved to hear.
Same here.
Even so, this is just— Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of— I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human, against the wishes of her family. She finds love and friendship in the bustling city. But then, the people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it, and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the fresh water to flee the land.
Consciousness? You mean the
Water as a conscious entity. There's.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her lover accepts her for who she is, and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. However, the little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away.
And then?
In the end, she makes the brave decision to sacrifice herself to save her.
Huh? But didn't they all treat Cleo like a villain? What?
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover, plus everyone.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love.
There's actually something else that bothers me. You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? And she never had. If we're serious about dedicating this show to her memory, we should make the ending as true to life. What about if the little Oceanid is how—
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to—
That ending would be a perfect mirror to Director Aureli's death. On the day when she went missing, Director Aureli had instructed us all, somewhat out of the blue. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. We looked for her. The Gardamex looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found.
The director was the kindest soul in the world, yet she was—
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that?
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so—
Vilma? The one who's playing the role of the villain?
Yeah. He's been overwhelmed by grief.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Because— well, speaking of the play being true to—
What? You—
It's time to be upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other. We'll never be able to agree on the— I did tell her how I felt once. But she said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she'd never consider— Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. So I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and on the up and up, well, maybe then she could— And now, that day will never come.
Oh, Paula.
So if I'm the one writing this ending, then I'm gonna make sure it does right by O'Reilly.
In that case, you have to straighten things out. We've all had our differences of opinion over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye.
Well, if that's where we're at, looks like it's time to go
Are you ready to face the truth?
Honestly, I'm slightly terrified. Funny you should ask, though. You really do get what I'm going through, right?
I certainly do. Come on, everyone.
This is tough going. Delphi, are you sure you can manage in your condition?
I could ask you the same question. Try to keep up.
Ugh, as if this journey wasn't tough enough already without a roadblock.
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you...
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever...
Yeah, but don't you remember why? The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her...
Precisely! And I'm not even the height. As much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put.
That sounded so smug. Ugh, secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
C'est la vie, indeed. Alas, I am forced to watch on helplessly as a more brave and seasoned adventurer than I swoops in to save the day.
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast my eyes.
Sorry to leave all the heavy lifting to you.
Don't worry, piece of cake.
Stabilize!
Hey,
Incoming! Strike! Cut to the chase! Don't blink!
Solidify! This is order!
this might hurt a little. Everyone hold hands.
Quiver! No turning back! Speed of light! Bravo! Good show! You certainly live up to your reputation.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, the
Vilma, are you there?
Huh? Oh, it's you guys. Wait, what's the...
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now...
So, you think knowing the truth about the director's I care just as much as everyone else about making the Little Oceanid a success. If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things
Vilma, avoiding the truth will not help anyone. Unless you mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had something to do with you.
I don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Vilma. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to... The Little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to...
This is why people think of you as not... As you all know already, the troupe was kept afloat not from ticket sales. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then... So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsor. It seemed like a win-win. So, the drink in question was...
Isn't that the drink peddled by the culprit?
I freaked out when I saw the boxes. But she didn't reprimand me for making the decision. The merchant was furious. I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue, but things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and then suddenly the director told us all to leave. I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, I got Aurelie killed.
Hey, don't say that.
You traitor! You knew Aurelie was. What do you mean? You were afraid? This was a life and death situation. How could you be so stupid?
Please, try not to get too worked.
Yeah, listen to him.
Stay calm? How can I stay calm? And he has the gall to try and high-road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show.
All I can say is I'm sorry. Truly. I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back in my life. So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight! Go! Get lost!
That's enough! You've screamed and shouted at each other for— Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real-life relationships in the troupe? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it—
I'm sorry.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. And you're all used to seeing but in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. To shield you all from the— I understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story.
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again if you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences. But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director Aurelie and the home— What are you laughing at? I don't see—
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, for a moment there, if she'd seen Paulo and Vilmont at each other's throats like that, she—
Really? But she sounded like such a
Of course she was. Even her harshest—
I'm truly sorry. I really meant for—
It's all right. Let's—
So, the ending. What do we—
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for— The end of the story needs to focus back.
What do you mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that if you could find anything that Aurelie left behind, perhaps—
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story.
No.
Well, we'll—
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia.
You want to review some recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearances case? But, that case has been closed for— Still—
So, this is all Aurelie—
Hey! It's full of script!
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something— Aha! I found— Looks like she kept a detailed record of her captors. If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back—
Lachey took so many lives. It's still so—
I guess Aurelie must have written all of this down in the hope— wait! It cuts off. Her handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. Her final words are— I'll let you read them for yourselves.
She was so terrified.
She may have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop. I can't bear to think how painful and lonely— wait. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one.
Isn't that the most important line in the little...
Because I am an older sister to them.
Oh.
So she didn't regret her decision. I'm sure this is what she had their utmost trust, admiration. Let's go.